and good wondrous afternoon. It is a Monday afternoon. It's the second last Liverpool game under the Klopp era, and I get the day off. I've got an entire week off. In fact, it's fantastic to get ready for the departure of our greatest manager since Gerard Houllier, essentially, basically. Very, very successful man, and somebody we all love dearly. And it will not be a joy in the house on Sunday. But before we get to that point, myself and Sir Z, and then maybe one or two others, maybe the big boss man himself making an appearance, we get to talk about the Aston Villa game coming up, which has no bearing for us, Sir Z. Absolutely nothing can shake our third place position. So it's essentially a dead rubber, but one that we hope will be entertaining and free-flowing the way we know Liverpool can play under Klopp. But for Villa, it could be an entirely different prospect. It could be the most important game they play this season. What are your thoughts going into the game before we look at the lineups?
Yeah, like I said, it's a dead rubber. I mean, I'm still nervous being a Liverpool fan. I don't want to see us lose, and then just don't want the last two games of Klopp's era just to peddle out into nothingness like what happened with Steven Gerrard. But yeah, there's more on the line for Villa. So I think it's going to be a good attacking game on both sides. I think it'll be a big score. But I think Klopp's going into this winning the game, or obviously wanting to win the game. It's a good, strong first team. Good strong lineup, barring Robertson. But other than that, like I think it's the best team that we can put forward.
Let's bring in Cozzy, who's also in the same time zone as you, I think, Suzy. So you both are. You're at 2 a.m. last Thursday, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still in the title race where we are.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Cozzy,
tomorrow.
We just talked about it's a game that we should just go out. The players should be just going out to enjoy, just have a bit of fun, get everything set up for the Anfield game on Sunday. So no pressure. There's literally zero pressure on anything whatsoever, other than to do their best for Jurgen Klopp and for themselves. But how do you feel about this? I mean, like we're all three old hands at this point, and we've had our fair share of emotional farewells. And final games, but this one's just a little bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to be honest, I can't even forget we were playing this morning. It was one of them, because I'm just not invested. It's the first time I forgot we were playing in May for years. Like, you know what I mean? Because I've just completely switched off from the season. To be honest, I just want the lads to go out and have a laugh with it. Just have a laugh, man. Football's meant to be fun, innit? If Liverpool draw, I'll be the happiest guy in the world. Liverpool draw 4-4. Happiest guy in the world. Like, I've seen a lot of goals, have a bit of a laugh. You know what I mean? Just see people lose their heads, even though it means nothing, and just have a laugh at them. You know what I mean? So, yeah, whatever happens in this game. And listen, if the players are going to knock, don't play. Tell Jota, don't play. Don't come back this season. Why are you coming back? Come back for nothing. Do you know what I mean? Just stay on. Just get yourself fit for next year. Go to the Euros, have a lovely time with your Portuguese homies. Don't speak English for 4 weeks and then come back. Do you know what I mean? It's just that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, and the good thing is I want to see Gakpo get these next two games. That's probably the only one, because I do think he's playing well, and I wanted to keep that going, really, for him, to make him feel a lot better. And the only last thing I want from out of this season is Mo Salah to score 2 more so he gets 20 league goals. And have a time.
Muchin says, Bickler's in Vegas. He's shaking his head to fit in.
It's like a polar bear being in Vegas. What's he doing there?
Well, let's do this. Let's look at the lineup. Because before we went on air, he said it's almost maybe Klopp's lineup, like the one he wants to have. There's, Elliott's getting to play. I think Elliott deserves to start this game and then the next game. He's just been fantastic. And he's a breath of fresh air. No disrespect to Jones or anything, but certainly no disrespect to Szoboszlai, but Elliott has earned it. He's just lit up the field every time he's been on it, apart from maybe 1 or 2 games. We have Kwanzaa at the back, the future, I think, of Liverpool defending.
You sure? It looks like he's up front there, but okay.
Yeah. He's coming back. He's coming off in the 78th minute. Those are also the minutes where they're being
the same joke every week. That's some fun free.
But we have Endo sitting and holding, which means McAllister can do that box-to-box job that he does so well. Susie, we'll start with you. That lineup, it's positive, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I said, I think this is Klopp's first choice lineup. Like you said the other day, his biggest regret is not playing Elliott more often. I think it's telling that Elliott's in there. If you're conspiracy theories like I am, I think these are the players that Klopp wants, and players like maybe Nunez, Szoboszlai not getting on. Maybe they weren't his ideal purchases. Who knows? I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, I think this is a lineup that pretty much everyone wanted. If there was something on the line, I think this is the lineup that we would have chosen.
Cosy, there was rumors about Diaz maybe 2 weeks ago thereabouts, but this week the noise was coming out from his camp is that he's quite happy at Liverpool and he wants to continue as a Liverpool player. Mm-hmm. That means nothing in the big scheme of things, but if it's true and he's quite happy, we want to see a good performance from him today, don't we? Because when he's on form and when he looks hungry, great things happen.
We all know he's got the ability. We all know he's got a lot of ability and a lot of technique and style that you want to see out of a winger, but his end product is just lacking at times. I do feel like this 11 that the manager's picked is just a load of his mates that he likes. And I don't think it was going to get to that stage where he just likes these lads. Like he quite likes having a conversation with Goldie Gakpo because he's quite intelligent and he maybe thinks he's a nice guy, a nice kid. Elliott's a nice kid. We'll get him in. I think there's a load of that happening where you go, you haven't done my head in this season. Where I feel like Kanate and Szoboszlai have done the manager's head in at times with Darwin Núñez. And when you've done my head in this year, you're not playing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you've just done me head in. And the one thing about the Elliott situation, which no one seems to think about, he's probably got 2 games to prove himself for the England squad because he could be in about the England squad in the summer. Do you know what I mean? So if he goes out and plays really well again, because he started to get the headlines in the last week to 10 days about Elliott's performances. If he goes out and has 2 really good performances, he could be on the plane again for England in the summer. Do you know what I mean? So that's another little incentive for him, especially. There's an incentive there for a couple of the other guys. I still expect, Trent to go. I expect Van Dijk, of course, and Gakpo are going to go for Holland and whatever, that kind of stuff. So he's probably the one out of the 11 there. Maybe even Joe Gomez. He probably thinks, can I have 2 good games here? Villa's Monday night live on TV. You'd expect Gareth Southgate to be there probably for this game. If not, what else are you doing on a Monday night? Mm-hmm. You may as well go and have a look at them, you know what I mean? And then you can have, there's another way there. So, but I do think that the team selection is just a lot of his mates and a lot of lads who haven't done his head in this year, which I quite like, really, because that's how I would pick my team as well. If I was a manager with nothing to play for, you know what I mean? Like Szoboszlai, Kanate, Núñez, and that, you've done my fucking head in this year. So I can't even be arsed looking at you. So you're not getting a game, which I quite like.
Susie, because he talks about Salah getting the 2 goals, we had all that drama a few weeks ago, but it seemed to have been resolved in the Spurs game. Everybody's all happy, clappy friends again. But it would be nice to get the old Salah back for at least these last 2 games before all the speculation happens about where he's going to be next season.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, if he is to leave, sign off on 2 great games. And next week, I mean, if he does choose to leave, it's going to be probably the worst day of being a Liverpool fan. Like losing Klopp, Salah, Matip, all in one go. It's too much for me to take.
Having a breakdown already. We're 2 weeks away. He's having a breakdown.
I know we never got to say bye to Mane. Like as far as I'm concerned, there's no closure there.
In fairness, though, to Sergi, Mane was a bell for that. Because remember the interview before the final, he was going, you're going to really like the news, what I've got lined up for you.
I know.
And then he left. And you're like, we're thinking, it's going to be a contract extension then, you know what I mean? Because he was playing down the middle quite well at the time. Yeah. And you're like, and then he left anyway. Fuck off. You can't leave like that.
If you two are back in last Thursday's time zone, Saidu appears to be already an hour ahead of us and we're 1-0 up, so that's a good sign anyway.
If you score, Saidu, let me know so I can put it back on.
But, let's look at the Villa lineup just to see who we're playing against. And the first thing that stands out to me, just because he's on the picture, is Tielemans. Yuri Tielemans is in the midfield. Saidu called it an aggressive one, but I've watched Tielemans play for Leicester, and he's an atrocious midfielder as far as I'm concerned.
I think he's overrated.
I think
he's a Matt Letizia type. When he puts it on, he's got fantastic skills and vision, but he just doesn't bother 90% of the time. He's one of the laziest players I've ever seen. That's going to play into our hands, essentially, isn't it, if he plays that way?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a 1 in 3. He's one of those players who look good 1 in 3. But the problem is the 1 is usually against you. I used to always think about this like a Robbie Keane kind of player. He's great 1 in 3. He looks great for Spurs. He'll score 16, 17. He looks great, but 1 in 3 is not good enough for Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be week in, week out. I think he's those type of players. And the one thing I'd say about this Villa side, I know they've got a lot going for. They did play Thursday, and they were away in Greece on Thursday, which I get it. It's Monday, and I understand, but it's still not a lot of turnaround after such a big defeat as well, really. So you could lose 6-2 on aggregate for a team that's going to finish in the top 4. You know what I mean? Against Olympiacos, you expect them to do a little better than that. But that's why one of their strongest lineups now. It looks like they've got their injured players back. I'm a big Diego Carlos fan. I think he's excellent. Really, really good player. Of course, Watkins and that, we know what we can do. But listen, this is their last home game of the season, I think, as well. So they're not going to want to go out on a defeat and again live on TV and all the hits, as they say. Do you know what I mean? Of like, so we're going to get a tough game, of course we are. But it was always going to be a tough game if you're in a title race as well. Do you know what I mean? It was going to be an hard game, but now the pressure's off. So again, you just want them to go out and have a bit of a laugh with it. Do you know what I mean? Go out. I don't see Unai Emery come out and opening them up because trying to open himself up to go and get a load of goals against Liverpool. I don't see that happening because he's not that type of manager. But also, if Liverpool scored in the first 10, they have to come out. They have to get something. Do you know what I mean? If Liverpool scored early doors, then they have to come out and really get after Liverpool because they'll take a draw now, wouldn't they? I think a draw guarantees it, doesn't it? I can't remember. But I think a draw might guarantee them the top 4. So they need
5 points ahead if they draw today. And then Spurs play City tomorrow.
Yeah, which is just basically a fucking bye for City anyway, not really the way Spurs are playing. Let's be fair. Let's be frank. You know what I mean? City are going to go down and just absolutely steamroll. But yeah, so I mean, it's a great sign, mate. I'm a big fan of a lot of the players, to be honest, and I'm a big fan of Pau Torres as well. I think that was a good sign. And Douglas Luiz has been excellent this year. I think he's had like 10, 12 goals as well. I think so. It's going to be a tough game, mate. It really is. But I'm excited. I really am excited. I like pressure off Liverpool. Pressure off Liverpool's a bit of a laugh.
So say when we lost with Atlanta, I mean, it wasn't a fantastic period for us, or Atalanta, pardon me. We didn't fly all the way over here to play for $600 a ticket.
They probably still with the beaters at that time as well.
But we know that sometimes a defeat in Europe, especially when you maybe went into the game as slight favourites, can have a psychologically damaging effect. Are Villa right for that to be the case, where that they've seen their entire season trophy-wise fall apart, and now they have one thing to fight for, but they kind of have a get-out clause that if Spurs lose to City, they're pretty much guaranteed. I think they're pretty much guaranteed then top 4.
Yeah, definitely.
So that, do you think that might play into their heads that number one, we could have been in a European final, and number 2, if we don't do it tonight, we still have a chance, depending on tomorrow night's result?
No, I think they'll see this game as a redemption, and they'll go out there to try and solidify their position in the top 4, because that's a huge risk to try and factor in that Spurs might lose tomorrow, and we've seen like stranger things happen. So no, they're going to come out wanting that top 4 cemented before going to the last game. The last game's just too nervous for them to leave everything for.
I think I would say though, and I'll go following on from that. I think it's interesting. For Villa, they go to Palace away on the last day.
Palace are on
flying. Palace are flying. Spurs go to Sheffield United. Now, of course, they need City to do them a favour, but you don't want to give Spurs any extra motivation. Get your result tonight. And then that's then buried. Then you know what I mean? Because the last thing you want is go in on the last day with Spurs getting a chance. Because let's be completely frank here, Spurs could score 10.
Yeah,
let's get it right for the goal difference. Spurs could score 10. Like they've already conceded 8. Sheffield United, and that's when they against Newcastle at home. By the way, at home, wasn't it St James's? At home. This is a team with Spurs and the way they play and how open they are, how attacking they are. They could go down there and really damage them. So if you're Villa, you've got to look and go, well, you might not get on the Palace. Do you know what I mean? Then you're relying on City. Of course, we all expect City to still do the business. But while you're at home, under the lights, last game at home, to secure top 4 tonight, the atmosphere is going to be fucking electric there, isn't it? So if you're Villa, there's that. But there's also a part, again, with the shoes on the other foot. If it's tight after 70, they could be fucked because they played Thursday and Liverpool have had a week off. How many weeks off have Liverpool had in May? in the last 7 years.
It's the first time, yeah.
My first time since probably Klopp's first season. Actually, no, in the Europa League. Because of the Europa League final. No, because of the League Cup and the Europa League final. In his first season. Then your second season, I can't even remember. But anyway, we've went deep in competitions with them. We've always went deep in competition, especially in Europe. So this is like this could be a week off Liverpool. No pressure. Liverpool squad again and have a bit of a laugh. Get your Darwin Núñez on the pitch and go out and just do early Darwin Núñez weird things, and this kind of stuff can happen. So if you're Villa, mate, you have to go. It has to be tonight. Just do it tonight, and let's go from there.
Talking about weird things and redemption, the boss man's here. Timuchin, you've seen the lineup, I assume. Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much what we expected, with the exception of Robertson for semi-obvious reasons. So I think we kind of roll with this until the end of the season, unless he does something sentimental in the last week or something. I doubt it, but I think this is kind of like your strongest lineup or most informed lineup, let's say. Yeah. So you got to kind of like roll with that.
Do you think, Timuchin, there's got to be a threat from Villa, as we just talked about, given that, they could solidify top four in this game tonight? Will they have any sort of hangover from the Atalanta, from not the Atalanta game, the European game? Olympiacos. Or, as Cozzy says, will they flake after 70 because they haven't got as much rest as we have?
I think they will flake out after 70, that's for sure. They are going to get tired. I mean, they went away to Greece, and it was a tough game for them. I mean, I kind of watched that game. Even in that game, if you guys watched the game, Villa looked tired on Thursday, so they're going to be even more tired today. They're
not sprinting over the line, are they? They're not sprinting over the line. They're kind of crawling.
I mean, they have a lot of injuries. I mean, like they have like almost zero depth now. Like anybody and everybody is kind of like an all hands on deck. And watching that game against Olympiacos, it looked like a tired team. And it looked like a defeated team. It's almost like, this one is gone, especially once Olympiacos took the lead and stuff. Yeah. But I think, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, if you're a Villa fan, you're a bit more probably paranoid than I would be, but you kind of expect City to take care of business. If even not, you don't expect Spurs to beat City. I mean, even if they get a point out of that or something like that, I feel like they're safe. I agree with what Kazi was saying in terms of, them playing Palace versus, Spurs playing Sheffield and stuff. But getting 10, come on now, Kazi. The only thing, though, is,
of course,
if you do lose to Liverpool today, 2-0-3-0, that you don't need 10 now. You only need 6.
But there's an 8 difference now. It's 8.
Yes,
now.
8, yeah.
But the thing is, Liverpool beat you 2-0. It's 6.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, you don't want to, I would think it's going to be a team that goes out there to play it safe. And Unai knows how to play things safe when he wants to. That's kind of what I expect. And you see their double pivot. That's the image kind of like I get from that lineup. But let's see what happens. These are like nice, relaxed, lean back watches. And that doesn't, in a good way, it doesn't happen very often, I guess. But
I just didn't realize that Robertson wasn't on the bench completely. Is there an injury or is there something happened?
I think it's injured.
Yeah, it's like a fitness thing is what I have.
Okay. So. It's going to be one of those, isn't it? That's if you go, listen, if you're going away in the summer, if you don't want to play, you don't want to fucking play. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't worry about it. Get yourself right. Like you said, like with Jota in it. I reckon he's supposed to be just sent Jota on all and just go away. Can't even bother looking at it.
Scotland is in the Euros too.
Yeah. Scotland up there, So there's a part where this is a big thing for Scotland, of course, to be in the Euros and he's the skipper. Do you know what I mean? It's like, he's the captain of this country. This is a big thing for me. I've got a bit of a knock. Do I have to play? Do I have to go and get run ragged, by the way, by against Villa away from home on a Monday night? No, I can't be asked. Do you know what I mean? So,
I can use on top of that, Euros off because they're in Turkey's group. But,
on top of that, though, what Kazi was saying earlier about Jurgen Klopp maybe picking the players he likes, Robertson would be one that if he said, like, there's any chance he could take this off so I'm ready for the Euros, Klopp would go, you've done it for me for all these years. You go, have some mimosas on me.
And there's a part of that. I do think there's a part of that. I do think there's a part where the manager's picking lads he likes and goes, I can't be arsed dealing with you, the other lads who can't be fucking, to try and get a tune out of you. I can't be arsed playing into form. I can't be bothered. There's nothing to play for. I want to just go out. I want to watch Alexis McAllister play football for 90 minutes because when he's on form, he's the best player in the world. And I want to just go out and watch the best players and have a bit of a laugh with it. Do you know what I mean? And I've got a feeling, again, and that's where the manager wants to be. And that's why I love that feeling, because I would do exactly the same. Like, I would just pick me mates and go, use it all sound. I love you. You get a game. Do you know what I mean? Did you see his face when Elliot bent that ball in? I've never seen it's like a proud dad where he's like nearly crying on the halfway, man. Do you know what I mean? In the box. So excellent, man.
And then shouted at him to get a haircut and get
yeah. It was like that round table. Did anyone watch that round table on YouTube when it was with Alex Inglethorpe? I'm sure, and you can see when he does the little high five to Elliot, like a proud dad, isn't he? So after 2 years, you were like playing in the championship and that. He's like made up for him. Yeah. So I just love that. He just loves watching Harvey Elliott play because we all do.
Susie, Trent Alexander-Arnold at right side. Is that going to cause us problems, or is it not going to matter? Is this going to be he's going to be so free of any burden of expectation that he's probably going to have his best game?
I'm so excited to watch it.
I think we're trying to have a good game, especially if Gareth Southgate's there today, and he wants to go to the Euros. So I mean, the English players, the English players, like Kazi was saying, like I don't think Elliot will go. I think the England midfield is too packed for Elliot to go. But they'll try and prove something. Trent will definitely obviously try and prove something. And Reece James, there's no way he's going to go to the Euros. So I think Trent's going to give it everything that he can to play well, just to go to the Euros. But then, Southgate's going to put him in midfield anyway if he goes.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Like, when Trent does that, does he go too offensive and lack defensively, or will he put an extra focus knowing that's probably why he's not picked because of his defensive things? I don't know what you guys think.
I think Kwanzaa's a better. Sorry, go ahead.
Go on, I just think with Trent, I think he knows he's probably going to be second choice anyway to Walker. Anyway. So you may as well go out and play your own game and go, well, I can offer you this in the last 25 minutes of games and 30 minutes of games. I offer you this, which is when we're back against the wall and I'd back Trent to take a penalty. Of course, corners and free kicks. So there's a part where Trent could play a game in that sense. So I think today, I think it's going to be unbelievable. I've just got a weird feeling that he's just going to be spreading balls and we're going to see the best of Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think. I'm probably the worst at the same time. Do you know what I mean? But
I think we see the best of him because Kwanzaa's behind him. I think Kwanzaa's a better backup for Trent than Konate is.
Yeah,
I think Kwanzaa allows Trent to go forward more, and he'll take care of the defensive duties.
I think Konate's playing in his own head, and he could do with the season end and just coming back on a refresh and a reset. I think he's got to deal with his own game now and not worry about someone else's position. I think if you play Konate with like a Bradley, for example, and just said, I know where you're going to be. I've got to worry about myself right now and getting myself through this game and never mind worrying about you. Where Kwanzaa looks like he's got the confidence right now to go, I can. That's all. When you're struggling, like the one thing you want as a football player is players around you. When you're struggling and you want the confidence back and you need to get your clean sheets and all that to try and build yourself back up, you want players around you. And the one thing that kind of Trent Alexander-Arnold does for the centre half, he's not around you. You know what I mean? But when Kwanzaa is on the pitch, it does allow him that. Do you know what I mean? So I know what you're saying there, Sergi. Do you know what I mean? When it's like Kwanzaa can probably do it right now for him. But yeah, man, it's going to be interesting.
It's a nice little segue to what my next question was going to be. So do you think maybe Konate will be... he's going to think about like next season being a better season for him because he's going to be all alone if he goes into that treatment room because we've 2 more games left and we're probably not going to see Thiago. We're definitely not going to see Adrian. We definitely won't see Matip. So apart from the fact that Anan owes us all donuts for the Thursday night podcast, we're not really seeing these 2 games as swan songs for Matip or Thiago, are we, Timuchin? Or Adrian. I'd say Adrian, but I think he just carried the donuts for everybody.
He is the dad.
I reckon Adrian's on 500 quid a week. Just keep showing up.
Probably, yeah.
Like a label.
But I was actually talking about that this morning. Like, I think it was Gakpo or somebody like that. They were like, describe a player with one word and stuff like that. I think he said a brother or dad or father or something like that, right? And I think that's that character. We were talking about this in the morning show. You do need a couple of people like that who, the analogy I was making is sometimes you just don't want to go to the assistant manager who's probably the captains, but you still need, so you go to the experienced full-timer. If you started a new job and you were like, hey, man, get the ropes from that guy. I feel like Adrian is that guy. For all these young kids going to a different country and stuff like that, I think he's done that role. But I don't know if Edwards is big on that role or paying for that role, but that's a conversation for another day. I would love to have seen Matip get really good send off because I think he deserves it. I mean, all he's done, he's been one of my favorite players while he's here, just because of he's freaking Matip, man. I mean, how can you not love Matip? So he's one of those guys that I wish he was able to go out playing. That would have been nice to see. Thiago, I don't know, maybe like they'll like trot out the training table like he was sitting on, like retire that with him or something like that when he comes. And he's had some great games too. He's a joy to watch. We talked about that, but yeah, it's gonna be kind of like that Keita treatment in some ways. But I think Thiago gets more respect because we've seen what he's done.
Yeah,
and we more feel like we lost out on that one as opposed to with Keita. I think we felt he lost out, or maybe that's just how I view it.
I think Thiago be wheeled on like the start of like the 60 show The Monkeys, where they're all in the bed getting wheeled down the street. That'd be Thiago with his drip and his leg in a cam boot.
You get leave him alone.
But maybe from Matip they'll do the high school thing when there's an injured senior on senior night and they let them come on their crutches just to do the ceremonial kicking off of the game. And then we sub them out immediately. Yeah.
Like when we won the Super Cup, just doing this at the back.
But nevertheless, let's talk about the main man on the field, Mohamed Salah. It could be his last two games, or it could be just his last two games under the Klopp era, and we get that one final fantastic season out of him under the next manager. Cozzy, you want him to get those 2 goals. I hope he gets more than that. Obviously, I think we all do. But if it's not to be the end of the Salah era, what would you expect him to behave like coming into these last 2 games?
As he's behaved for the last 7 years, as the ultimate professional, never injured, apart from the season, of course. And that doesn't go missing in games, really. Always wants the ball. As much as he's had bad games, he always wants the ball. And there's a difference between having a bad game and going missing. Do you know what I mean? To
be fair, though, so did Marwan Fellaini. He always wanted the ball as well. I mean, just kicked it into the stand straight after.
But I mean, I can't even imagine a life without Mo Salah on Liverpool's right wing, to be honest. I don't really want to. I think we are underestimating how big it is to score 20 goals in the Premier League, and we just take it for granted now because it's just a normal thing to do for him. And to get around that number, it's a freak, it's a joke, and you know, people who want him out and stuff like that. I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. And this thing that Saudi Arabia about him, Saudi Arabia is a country. Just so you people know that. So when we stop saying Saudi Arabia will just buy him, that's a country. It's not a football team. It's a whole.
To be fair, though, there's 4 clubs being run by one thing. So
yeah, but there's only 3 teams that can afford them. 3, and Anne told us that there's 3 teams you can afford them. By the way, and Saudi is a part of that as well. And I also think that the Saudi Arabia League's lost its allure over the last 12 months, but that's just for something else entirely. I think the man is super fit. I think he's super professional. And I want him to stay forever. And I would give him a new deal right now, just so with a manager that comes in knows he has a guaranteed goals in his team, which you can't take away, really.
So for me, you know, we could talk about like Torres leaving. We could talk about even Henderson and Milner, but Salah leaving is more like Gerrard or Ian Rush, his final games, or John Barnes. These are players we've invested in emotionally, not just as supporters of the results of the team, but actually he almost identified himself as Liverpool in the way Firmino did, which is people so often forget that Firmino was like, because he can correct me if I'm wrong, but he almost had the quintessential scout spirit before he even kicked his first ball. He was just a rebel, which is what we always, what I always think of scouts as. Like, that Irish rebel heart is in there.
It's that cockiness, isn't it? That arrogance. Yeah. That's why Curtis gets so much love. It's because you got an arrogance. Yeah, I'm meant to be. I'm not the best player here, and I love that. And Bobby has that arrogance when he was on the pitch of like just taking liberties with football players. And I think Salah's a bit like that, especially Salah in his pomp when he's just running at players, going, "Yeah, I'm unstoppable, and you can't get near me." So he has got that arrogance. I do agree with you there, mate. Definitely. So
do you think that for Salah, there's that kind of attachment that we don't want him to leave, not just because of his goals, but because he's one of us?
Yeah, and we don't have that emotional investment with the current strikers, apart from maybe Jota, maybe. But, you know, him leaving will just be like a closure to the Mane, Bobby, and Salah era, and and without them three, I mean, them three would have. You saw in the Man City documentary, like Pep Guardiola shit himself with them three. No one could handle them. But I'm going back to watching, Beardsley, Aldridge, Barnes, and these three, outdid them. They were just, they brought the best success that, we could have won more league titles if it wasn't for City, but them three just stepped us up like so many levels compared to Rafa and Rodgers and all the rest of them. Like, this football I never thought that we'll see again. So him leaving will be an ultimate closure to that, and we're just not emotionally invested into the other players.
Says you hit the nail on the head, though. They're right about the emotional investments and stuff like that into players and what they've done for us, and we could have won a lot more. I seen a stat today about Arsenal. I've won 27 league games this season. Okay, and it's tied the record of what they've ever got. Because when they went undefeated, I think they won 27 through 13.
Yeah, a lot of draws.
A lot of draws. And I was like, when I thought about it, like, that's tied Arsenal's record of winning 27 games in a season. Liverpool won 27 out of 28 games, won you?
Yeah.
Before COVID, and like, when you think about the fucking sheer level of what you have to be like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's a joke. And every time I think about that season now, it's always going to go back to those three lads you just mentioned. And when the other one goes, the last one goes, it feels like the truly end of an era. It feels like an end of an era when Klopp goes. Do you know what I mean? But it does feel like when Mo Salah will leave Liverpool, and then we do actually start a season with not one of them, of Mane, Salah, Firmino, that will be a really sad day to be a Liverpool fan, I think.
Timuchin, the most important question before we get to the score predictions and wrap up and get our feet under the tables to watch, our TV dinner tray tables to watch the game. Will Gomez get his goal today?
Joe Gomez?
I hope so, man. But in some ways, I was hoping that would come at like a ridiculous moment where we really needed a goal. And he's had a couple of those moments where it was like, oh, man, if this one end. Because honestly, like, if it would be a cool moments in kind of like this relaxed atmosphere and stuff if he gets the third goal or something like that. We would be like, there he is. But I was really hoping deep down inside that would come in a game where 0-0, 88th minute, he cranks a shot from outside the box or something like that. That was kind of like my dream scenario. But hey, man, I love Gomez as a player, man. I know he gets way too much hate unnecessarily. So I hope he sticks around. I hope he's here next season as well.
There's a part like he's definitely not getting a penalty off Salah, is he? Salah has to be off. And he has to be off the pitch. Salah's good. No, not a chance.
So let's wrap it up then. If Brian says if Saudi was just happy that Jones isn't start, that's probably much the case. But we're apparently winning 1-0 because he's in a time zone ahead of everybody else. So let's wrap it up then before we go. Cozzy, score prediction and star player.
So 5-2 on the. We just have a laugh at it. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be asked if we do 4-4, but I'll go 5-2. Star player Mo Salah as always.
Suzy.
Yeah, 4-2 Liverpool, Salah hat-trick.
Timuchin.
And I think that was my prediction that he stole earlier this week, but I can't remember. I'm getting old. So no, not you, Sir Z. I'm gonna go with 4. I'll change it just in case. I'll do 4-1, but I go with Mo as well.
I'm gonna go 5-3, and Gomez gets his goal.
You know what this means, right? This is going to be like a 0-0 game.
No Darwin Núñez hat-trick for this one.
Really?
He'll be lucky if he even gets on the field by the looks of things.
Which is exactly in the place where he needs to be.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Now, before we all wrap up, number one, the important things are make sure that you're following us on the YouTube and the Instagram and the Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter, and our Patreon as well if you want the extra goodies. As well as the Discord channel where you can see all the arguing back and forth for when Núñez misses a sitter. But we won't have a post-match for this official one. We will have the terrible trio tonight on the podcast.
Not even. I think we have a terrible duo.
Oh, terrible duo.
Yeah.
I'm a Patreon. I might jump on and be the terrible trio.
That's because Bicker's out getting lost somewhere.
We'll see the connection issues. Both boys are traveling, so hopefully if they can figure out some good Wi-Fi. We'll see how tonight goes. Either way, it'll be a lot.
Either way, people should be watching anyway because we've got the.
I'll be there. Shit, you know.
There you go. What more do we need? But we will have that and then our morning coffee during the week as well, and our Thursday podcast as well. It's all coming together at the end of the season as we prepare to say goodbye to our best modern day manager since probably the 90s, maybe. But it doesn't really matter. We get to enjoy it. That's the important thing. We enjoy 180 plus minutes, probably 210 minutes with injury time over VAR.
Paul Tierney's the manager. So Ben Paul Tierney's the ref next week, and Jurgen Klopp's beating fuck out of him on the sideline for a laugh.
We'll be there, and Cosy and Suzy will just be catching up on the Aston Villa game from their time zone. So that's how it's going to work out. Well, we will see everybody later. Enjoy the game. Up the Reds.
Have a good
Here's
one,
the
guys.
trap music.